Welcome to video 1.2 rounding. The way Alex works is if you do not round correctly, you get the entire problem wrong. So rounding is going to be so vital. There's a whole lesson on nothing but rounding. So before we get to rounding, you need to know place value. So here's a decimal place. So we'll just go in order. The first thing is the ones place. After the ones comes the tens. After the tens comes the hundreds. And after the hundreds comes the thousands. Going the other way, I'll write below, tenth, hundredth, and thousandth. Okay, now we're ready to rock and roll. All right, so we're going to round all of these numbers to these various locations. So round to the nearest thousand. So what I'm going to do is underline where the thousand place is. So ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Then I'm going to arrow to the immediate right of it. And if that arrow is 5 or greater, the underline gets bumped up 1. So you're 5 or greater, so that 2 becomes a 3 and everybody else is a 0. Tens. I'll underline the tens. I'll arrow to the right of it. Once again, the arrow is 5 or above, so I'm going to boost that up 1. So 2,750. Now to the nearest hundred, I'll underline the hundreds. I'll arrow to the right. 4 is not 5 or greater, so I just make those things turn into a 0. Nearest whole number. So the whole number basically has no decimal. It means the nearest ones place, basically. So I'll underline the ones place. I'll arrow there. That 7 is 5 or greater, so I'll boost that underline up 1 to 13. Hundredth. So I will underline the hundredth. I'll arrow to the right. To the right, that arrow is not 5 or greater, so I'll just make it go away. Do not add a 0 there, just make it go away. Okay, over on this side, 3.654 to the nearest tenth. So you're the tenth. You're to the immediate right. 5 or greater, push that underline up 1 to 3.7. Okay, now it gets a little bit trickier. 2.99 to the nearest tenth. So here's the tenth. Here's one over there. So this is 5 or greater. So I'm going to boost this up by 1. But there's no digit greater than 9. So whenever that happens, what I like to do is kind of look at these two. As long as that's not a 9 as well, what number comes after 29? The number 30. So it's going to be 3.0. That's how I like to look at that. Over here, the nearest thousandth, tenth, hundredth, thousandth. So I go to the right. Once again, that's 5 or above. I boost him up. He's at a 9. So I'm going to go to these two digits right here. What number comes after 09? Well, just 10. So watch what I'm going to do here. 3.010. It is important that you keep that 0 there. Okay. Over here, the nearest hundredth. I'll arrow over there. Again, 5 or above, boost him up. 9's already maxed out. So what number comes after 89? 90. it is important that you keep that 0 there. 3.129, 1 decimal place, so that means just 1 place after the decimal. Arrow over there. You are not a 5 or above, so I just make you go away, 3.1. 2 decimal places, so I go to the second place, arrow over here. 9 is 5 or above, boost the 4 to a 5. Okay, now 26 over 35. First we want to round to 5 decimals and then convert that to a percent and round that to the nearest tenth. Whoa. Okay, so I already did some calculations here. So if I'm going to round to 5 decimals, I want to go always at least 1 more past. So I wrote 6 out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the 5th decimal is right here. I go 1 beyond. That is a 5 or above, so I boost the 5 up to a 6. Okay, now I want to convert this to a percent and round to the nearest tenth of a percent. So to convert that to a percent, I'm going to multiply that by 100. And again, I like to think just move the decimal 2 places. So I'll write that down. So I now have 74.286%. But they said to go to the nearest tenth of a percent. Right there is the tenth. And then I arrow to the right. That 8 is 5 or above, so the underline goes up 74.3%. Whew. So there you have it, how to round.